Hey there, guys. I want to share with you today how I saved a customer thousands of dollars on a HVAC repair. Um, it happened about 3 months ago. They had, of course, it was the middle of summertime, 90 something degrees outside. Customer had animals, they had pets in the house, they had fish, they had aquariums. Their house was ranging up to like 100 and something degrees in the house. They were really panicking because they had animals. So the first thing that they did is they called the contractor that installed the air handler in their home uh, a year ago or 2 years ago. Ever since the air handler was installed, the customer had nothing but problems because it would flood the basement and nobody could figure out why. But that didn't come up until later. So what happened was they called him. They set up an appointment. He came out in his truck. He went over there and diagnosed the system and basically came back to them and told them that their outdoor unit was shot, the compressor was bad, it was they needed to replace it. It was done. He put a new air handler in there a couple years ago, and he can get a match system for outside. So he wrote up an estimate for the customer and gave him an estimate of $6,800. The customer went and talked to his wife, and come to find out, the wife said, "Hold on, stop. No, let me make a phone call." And she went and called me. And she said to me, "Does this sound right?" And I said, "Well, explain to me what happened and what's going on." And basically, they explained to me that the outdoor unit, they had no air conditioning in the house. It was 100 something degrees. They were panicking. The first response was to call, the HVAC contractor that installed the air handler. Come to find out that contractor that installed the air handler obviously did something improper. In the midst of that, she goes on to tell me what he wanted for a price, and I said, "Stop right there." I said, "Hold on, don't do anything just yet. Hold him off. Let me check a price on that outdoor unit and see if he's even in the ballpark." So I called the manufacturer and I asked them, send me the model and serial number. They sent it to me. In the meantime, the guy's out there negotiating with the husband, and he's retired. And well, he's retired, but he's disabled, a veteran. He's on a certain amount of income. And not that that should matter. The fact of the matter is that, that's what he has to work with. He doesn't have a lot of income. He suffered from a stroke, years back, and he didn't have a lot of money. He doesn't have a lot of money, and it's not about the money or price. And I don't want to focus on that. But what I do want to focus on is how you could get taken advantage of by a contractor relatively easy, because you're put in a position that position is, you have to make that decision right away. Your pets, something could happen to your pets. It's hot outside. You're forced to make a decision. You're put in a corner. Let me say this to you. You're never put in a corner, because there's always a solution to the problem. So I call the manufacturer. I find out the price of it. I put it all together. And I said, "Look, stop. Don't let him do anything. He's way off. He's probably about $1,000 off." So the husband goes back out there and says, "No, no, I don't, something don't sound right here." He's like, the guy says, "Look, I'll do it for $6,500. So now he's bringing the price down. And it was like, he really wants to sell the unit. So then the contractor gets on the phone, he's calling somebody, or pretending he's calling somebody. "Do we have this unit? Do we have that unit?" And he's like, "Oh, I just remembered, I got one on the truck." Nobody carries a HVAC unit on their truck. I don't. Nobody does. No contractor carries it on their truck. ready to go, the exact same model that gonna go in your house, that puts up a red flag to me. I mean, especially to me. That means that he kind of knew what was going on, or had an inclination what was bad, or why would you show up at a customer's house with the same exact unit you need to replace? It just it sounded too fishy to me. But I wasn't there, so I don't know. I'm only going by the story of what they told me, and they basically told him that $6,800, $6,500 was too much. So then the contractor decides that he wants to negotiate some more. And he basically says that I'll be losing money, but I'll give it to you for $5,500 if you do it right now. So the husband goes back in the house to talk to the wife, and in the meantime, I'm talking on the phone, and I'm like, no, I mean, if he's, number one, he's already dropped the price down $300 on the first thing. Then he drops it down $1,000 next to give it to you from $6,500 to $5,500, and he wants to continue to negotiate with you. Doesn't that sound fishy to you? Doesn't something not? And the wife's like, I'm not feeling it. I have, she's intuition. Women's have that intuition about when dealing with somebody, or having to deal with a contract. It doesn't matter who it is, a contractor, a friend, or anybody. Women's intuition normally is pretty well on. So she had that intuition. First thing she wanted to do is she wanted to call me. And what's interesting is she called me all because of one thing. And that one thing was, I wrote this book. This book right here actually saved them thousands of dollars. They had went and purchased this book on Amazon. It's on Amazon. They purchased the book. She read it from cover to cover, relatively easy to read. And she said a lot of the red flags that I put in this book was exactly the red flags that this contractor was using. Not only did she pick up on those red flags, but she also called the contractor out on it without actually utilizing. She just utilized some of the tips and tricks that I put in there, and she called them out on it. And at that point, they were in the house negotiating, and basically the wife said, no, I don't want to do it. I don't feel comfortable with him. I obviously don't trust him right now. So the husband goes back outside. In the meantime, this contractor's starting to take this stuff apart. And he's like, whoa, what are you doing? He's like, we haven't signed a proposal. We haven't told you to go ahead. We don't have anything in writing. Don't be taking my unit apart. Basically, the contractor was taking the unit apart at that point. And because he was taking it apart, the husband said, no, hold on. What are you doing? Like, he already had it in his mind that he was going to replace it because of the situation that this couple was in. 100 degrees in their house. They got dogs and cats and animals and fish and tanks, and all that stuff starts to overheat. Something could happen to their pets. Not alone, their uncomfortability because it's like sweltering in their house. So they were kind of put in a corner, and basically, you're forced to make a decision. You're never forced to make a decision when it comes to that. So needless to say, she told him no. The husband went back out there and basically told him, I don't want to do it. Well, how much did the other company tell you he was going to do it for? And he was willing to negotiate one more step. And basically told them that if you don't do it today, you're never going to find this unit all summer long. Because the demand is down, and he used COVID, and he used a bunch of tactics that sales guys use. And this was the owner of the company. And basically told him that nobody has this in stock. I'm the only one that's got one, and I got one right here in my truck, and I can get it done for you this afternoon. Da 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 da. After that, the customer just said, no, you know what? I don't want you to do anything. I don't want you. And then he comes out and says, just like this, and it kind of floored me when the customer told me. First, he says that What did the other company give you for a price? I'll match it. Which at that point he's already come down 300. He come down 1,000. Now he wants to come down even more, if it is more or less, to discount. And I'm just like, no, that's a shady contractor. That is a guy that is only looking. He started off high and he kept coming down. Good contractors can't negotiate price because they have to take into consideration the overhead, the how much the unit costs, the labor intensive, the payroll that he has, the insurances that they have to cover. There's a lot of things that go into that has to, based on the price, on what the mock-up can be. Now, not every business has, a substantial overhead, but most businesses have overheads. And anybody that's in business knows that, if you do have an overhead, then you obviously have to take into consideration that overhead. And that all goes into pricing. Well, and again, this all goes back to whether or not this contractor, what type of overhead he had, or how much profit he was looking to make. Obviously, he was looking to make a tremendous amount of profit at starting off at $6,800 for a single outdoor unit. So after that, and the husband says, no, I don't want anything. I don't want you to do anything. I want you to put my unit back together. I don't really want to work with you anymore. He basically said to him, this is to the contractor says to the husband, I can't believe you let your wife make your financial decisions. I would, at that point, I was, when he told me that, I was floored. I was floored that a contractor would tell a customer that and then expect them to do business with him. I was like, when he told them no, instead of accepting it on the chin and say, you know what, okay, well, I'm really sorry. Is there anything that we could have done better? And if he said, look, not everybody's going to be that contractor's customer. And at this point, this one wasn't. He was trying to rip him off. He was trying to rip him off in reference to how much he wanted. But this book saved them, I kid you not, almost $2,000. Almost $2,000 it saved them on the purchase of that outdoor unit. Because when they called me, I was able to get one. I was able to go out to their house. I was able to solve their problem. And I had it installed before they even got back home. They had to go to Tappahannock for something. I had my guys go over there, take the old unit out, put the new unit in. By the time they got home, their house was absolutely freezing. It was cool. They had to turn the thermostat up. It was funny because he called me. He's like, oh, wow, it's so cold in here. I mean, I very rarely hear anybody complain about, I hear everybody complain it's too hot, but I never hear anybody complain it's too cold. And I'll tell you, this summertime, we've had a lot of complaints that customers' homes were too cold. And that's a big thumbs up because we know that we're doing the right thing when it's too cold. But the moral of the story is basically this book actually saved that customer a couple $1,000s on that because they questioned the contractor. And in this book, I go over the tips and tricks that you can use that will allow you to make sure that that contractor's doing right by you. It protects you. It's a guide to protect you. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't write this book to be profitable. I wrote this book because I'm sick and tired of contractors taking advantage of consumers. And it's not just in my trade because I see it. I've worked for companies that have done it. It's about sales, and they're doing this based on sales. Now, don't get me wrong. Businesses have to have sales to survive. I mean, everybody knows that. A grocery store has to survive by selling their product. A gas station has to survive by selling their product. The fact of the matter is you have to do it legitimately. People will come back to the business that treats them right the first time and not looking for that initial, I just made, $2,000 off this sale. It's not about that. It's about building a trust and a relationship with that customer for long term. Because down the road, they're going to have a problem and they're going to remember the way you treated them. This customer is no longer going to go to this guy, no longer going to call him based on that. And then at the end of the story, he tells me that the contractor took his truck and drove around the back of his house right up to the unit on the grass. What contractor does that? We don't do you don't drive on customers' grass. You don't do that. I mean, that's just I'm a loss for words because it is a company that's local. It is a company that advertises a lot. It is a company, and this was the owner that went out there. And if he doesn't have the morals and values that, I mean, I don't know. And I'm not. Trust me, I'm not going to give you the name. I'm not going to I won't reveal that because I don't. Look, we make mistakes too. Everybody does, but this is not a mistake. This is just downright trying to rip somebody off. To go from 6,800, 6,500, then to 5,500, and then want to negotiate again. What is that telling you? He's pricing his stuff at. He's not doing right by the customer. He's doing right by him. He doesn't care about the customer. He doesn't care about that. And if it wasn't for this book, they probably would have gotten ripped off. They would have. The book is what saved them. That book right there is what saved them almost $2,000. Because in one of those chapters, it talked about exactly the tactics that contractor used on them. And when the wife started hearing it, it rang a bell. It rang a bell with her. And she was like, no, absolutely not. No. No, no, no. And kudos to her because in the situation that they're in, and a lot of people are in that situation. You're hot, you're sticky, your family's upset because it's too hot in your house. The first thing you just want it fixed. You want the problem gone. You want everybody in your household to be happy. And you'll pay whatever cost that is. Most of us do. But it's wrong. Because there are contractors out there will take advantage of that situation. They will take advantage of somebody that is in that dilemma. Somebody that is they act like you don't have a choice. You do. You do. And how that choice is, what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to give you this book. This book right here, I'm going to give it to you for free. Only thing I want you to do is, I'm going to put the link right there. The link's right there at the bottom. Go to that link right there and you can get a copy of that book for free. This could save you thousands and thousands of dollars on this, and it doesn't matter which contractor you work with. Whether it's electrician, just change it from heating and air conditioning, or to electricity, they use the same tactics. Same thing, nothing different. But I'm going to give you that book for free. Just go to that link right there, or you can send me an instant message on Facebook. If you send me an instant message on Facebook, I will reply and get you that book for free. You can download it. I normally charge $9.99 for that book on Amazon, but I'm just sick and tired of hearing these horror stories from these customers. And it's all summer long. And now we're going to go into wintertime where they're going to use the same exact tactics, and it's in the book. What they use, the furnace checkups, the cracked heat exchangers, all the things that you have no idea what they're talking about, but all you know is you need to get heat back on. Look, that's why they did, Dateline does all that, they did to catch a predator, and then they did the ones with the contractors and to see if they were doing the right by the customer. And how many people did they actually catch? A lot. And they talk about the scams. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of hearing customers' horror stories. I hear it I swear, if I don't hear 2 to 3 a day, I don't hear one. This is the reason why I wrote the book, is because I want everybody to stop being honest. Have some integrity. That's why at D&L, you're not just a customer. You're part of our family. And we don't treat family like that. We want to do right by you. We want to make sure that you're getting taken care of. We're not going to sell you something you don't need. That's what the book is about. I'm going to give it to you free. Follow that link right there. I'll leave it in the description. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just hit that subscribe button and hit that bell, and you'll get notified every time I produce a new video. Because you know what? I'm tired of this. And I hope everybody, I hope it goes viral. Share it everywhere. Because this needs to stop. This literally needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. Because companies are not hiring technicians. They're not solving problems. They're training these guys to be salesmen. They're training them to sell stuff. That's the only way that that's how they're doing it. You know, just because your unit's 10 years old doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't run properly. It may not be efficient to today's standards, but, you know, that doesn't mean it doesn't run and do what it's supposed to do. I've also created a Facebook group called the Fredericksburg Homeowners Advocacy Group. You're more than welcome to come over and join that group. We're going to have contractors, legitimate contractors, one from each trade, in this group to talk about and give tips, free advice, free stuff. If you got a question, we got electricians in there, we got plumbers in there, HVAC guys, real estate agents. We're going to have every little aspect of home ownership there. You know, I'm sick of it. I'm sick and tired of it. So I'm going to give back to our community by basically devoting my time to make sure that you get taken care of, to make sure that you're not getting ripped off. This is exactly, it's about integrity. It's about doing the right thing when nobody's watching. It's about doing right by the customer. And the unfortunate part is a lot of companies out there are not. All they care about is themselves. And that's wrong. Do you want a copy of that free book? Follow that link right down there at the bottom. The m.me at D&L Mechanical with that reference number. I'll get a book sent over to you. You can download it for free. Just do me a favor. After you get it and you read it, go leave me a comment on my YouTube channel, or leave me a comment on Amazon where the book is. Leave me a comment on Google. Just, you know, like this post. Come back here and like this post. Leave me a comment below if you got any satisfaction on reading that book. Because it's not about me, it's about giving to you. It's about giving back to the community. And I want each and every one of our people in our community, Fredericksburg, Stafford, Spotsylvania, and King George, to be protected when they're dealing with contractors. I'm tired of seeing it. They're popping up left and right. I mean, one after another one. As soon as a technician gets angry at their boss, they're starting their own business. Probably not licensed, probably not insured, or they're working on the side doing side work. We call them side job Bobs or in the truck Chuck. Those are the guys that are out there doing it for half the cost with no insurance and no licenses, and utilizing their boss's tools to do it. Unethical. And you're going to get a subpar job, which means that they're doing it for half the cost. Do you think you're going to get top quality? No. And then when something breaks down, you're not going to be able to find them, or they're not going to answer their phone no more, or they're going to tell you that they can't come back out there because they're working. Is that really what you're looking for? I would want somebody that's going to respond to me and be there when I need them if something was to happen. I wanted to share that with you. It's an amazing story. I'm going to leave a link in the description to the video of the testimonial, the video interview with the couple. I'll have it in the description. Check that video out because I think it's amazing. I think it's awesome. I think that they're what they say is incredible, and how this book saved them. I'll leave that in the description. It'll also be up in the end card. Click on that and watch that video because you'll be amazed at what the contractors are doing out there. All right, take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.